Welcome to On the Frontline, the Military Rec Show, where we spotlight the leaders and professionals advancing recreation, wellness, and quality of life for military communities worldwide. Hosted by John Prue, this episode features Dave Roberts, PGA professional and director of the Air Force Golf Program, whose passion for the game is helping strengthen military communities. Dave shares his remarkable journey from serving in the U.S. Army to leading Air Force Golf, where he oversees programs that promote resilience, wellness, and lifelong recreation for active duty service members, veterans, and their families. His story highlights the powerful role recreation plays in supporting those who serve. This is On the Front Line, powered by the DPRS Media Network. Let's dive in.
All right, it is 13:30 on Tuesday, 5 May 2026, and you are on the front line. My name is John Prue, as the host of this weekly podcast focused on armed forces or military recreation. We talk to professionals in the industry who in some way are making a difference in the quality of life of our military and their families. Now, out there, you might be a morale, welfare, and recreation or MWR professional who directly supports quality of life for our military and families each and every day. Maybe you are or have been in the military and a user of MWR services, and we certainly appreciate your service. Perhaps you're from a business or organization who directly supports or wants to support our armed forces recreation professionals around the globe. You just might be a public parks and recreation professional curious about this thing called military recreation and what it's all about. Or perhaps you don't fit into any of those categories and you just happen to tune in. Either way, welcome to On the Front Line, the Military Rec Show. All right, we have a great show today. We really do, with PGA professional Dave Roberts and the head of Air Force Golf, the whole Air Force Golf program. He's there, great guy, wealth of knowledge. You're going to love him, and I can't wait to get into the conversation. He's got a great journey. He has a true passion for the game of golf and how that can support our active duty, our family members, and our veterans. I might even get a few golf tips, hoping at least, because God knows I need them. Either way, it's going to be a great show. As you know, we are all part of an amazing media company called Daily Park and Rec Show, or DPRS. DPRS Media exists to honor the park and recreation industry, reflecting on the stories, highlighting the careers, and celebrating the real pros who are out there doing the essential work in our communities, and that includes our military communities. Want to give a shout out to our producer, Jovi, once again. She does such a great job keeping us in check, keeping me in check, so to speak, and she'll be doing everything behind the scenes. So in advance, Jovi, thank you for what you do. I also want to thank our founder of DPRS Media, Craig LeBlanc, with over 500 episodes and counting. He has been making a huge impact in the Parks and Rec industry, and I really want to thank him for allowing us the opportunity to host this weekly podcast focused solely on the military recreation and those professionals doing the good work out there. Okay, today's show sponsor is Outdoor Link. Big surprise. They've been with us forever, and we love highlighting them because they are such great supporters and they have such a terrific product. If you want to turn on your entire city on and off with the swipe of a finger on an app. This is what Outdoor Link does. Outdoor Link build smart cities connecting your park lights, your splash pads, fountains, scoreboards, bathroom door locks, or anything really powered by electricity into a simple app on your phone, tablet, or desktop that you can control from any location 24/7, 365 days a year. If you want to learn more about Outdoor Link, tune in to the Smart Parks Forward show with Dave Ramirez on the second and fourth Mondays at 1:30 Eastern Time on the DPRS network. We're also going to see a short promo from Outdoor Link, along with a new teaser video that Jovi actually was behind, related to the DPRS network and some of the great shows. We're adding shows all the time, and this little teaser is a fun one to get you excited about all the podcasts of the DPRS network. And then, of course, we're going to see a spot on JDP Services Management Consulting, which is near and dear to my heart. So, Jovi, why don't you run the spots, and we'll be right back.
JDP Services Management Consulting, supporting parks and recreation and the essential service they provide. Communities benefit greatly from having dedicated advocates who champion the value of play in open spaces. Such advocacy ensures that recreational areas are prioritized and managed in ways that enhance the overall quality of life for everyone. We are dedicated to fortifying public park and recreation agencies and other related organizations by taking a practical, engaged approach to consulting and training, addressing immediate needs while equipping clients with lasting insight and tools to strengthen their organizations for long-term success. JDP Services, Management Consulting, meeting needs and exceeding expectations.
In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access. Coordinate fountains and splash pads. Provide public connectivity. All from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
All right, we are back. And as we do always, we're going to kind of check things out and what's happening around the world and talk a little bit about the Armed Forces Recreation Network of NRPA. But we're going to be quick because we got a great guest and a great conversation to be had. So, Jovi, you can pull up the deck. All right. First of all, buddy, to know if you don't know already, it is National Military Appreciation Month. This is a little graphic on behalf of JDP Services that's been posted on social media, but a chance to honor our military this month. A lot of great dates, specific dates in the month of May. There's a lot of things to be recognized, but this month it's for our military and great opportunity to do that. So just want to make sure we're highlighting that for everyone. I talked about this last week, but I want to hammer it home. This is a new skill builder that's been put out by NRPA. The education team has put this out. You can, if you're a member, you can sign up to do that. Really, I think, well, it's geared for both the MWR professional, but more importantly, the public parks and recreation agencies. If you have military out in your community, maybe you're close to a military base, or you just have a heavy concentration of military, and you can even throw in veterans. How do you serve those that are serving, and how can you collaborate and try to find a way to do programs that are geared for our military and their families out in those agencies, or partner with a local MWR if you are close to a military base? Just an outstanding program, and just one of the ways that NRPA is starting to really pull in and tackle this issue of trying to reach out more to our military services, because those families don't all live behind the fence line in military housing. They're out in communities all around the country, and best to reach out and really try to figure out how to serve them. So, shameless plug. Speaking of shameless plugs, here we go again. Again, thanks to Joby. Joby's been working hard getting our episodes not only on the front line, the Military Rec Show, but even some of the other episodes of DPRS Media to get onto Spotify. We're so excited. So the audio files, although this is a pretty much visual podcast in most formats, including our YouTube channel, we are now on Spotify. Our audio files are. So another way to consume our podcast, and a lot easier to do it maybe via the car, which I've been hit up quite a few of our listeners who've reached back to me and said, I listen to my podcast in the car. I got a long commute. How can I hear you? It's just easier to deal with Spotify. And now we're on it, or at least most of our episodes are getting loaded. So super excited about that as well. Okay, and as always, our Armed Forces Recreation Network. Hopefully, we've got lots of listeners from the network out there. I know they follow it, or at least get a chance to watch the episodes at some point. They've got a meeting coming up here the second Wednesday of the month, so that'd be next week. They've got their monthly meeting. You can sign up on the left side for their code. It goes through NRPA, very easy to do. And they've always got good stuff. Their leadership team is really strong. And then we've got our two social channels, Facebook and LinkedIn. Collectively, you're talking about 1,200, almost 1,300 people that are associated with those channels, and they're always posting something. Lots of good programs, which I typically highlight. I'm not today, but literally with Month of the Military Child, and now rolling into kind of this month recognizing our military. There are so many programs happening out there. I'm sure you'll see a lot next time. But if you're on those social channels, you'll get to see it yourself, because it'll sign up. It's a good thing. So thank you, Joby. You can take that down now. All right, and let's bring in our guest, Mr. Dave Roberts. I want to welcome Dave Roberts, a longtime PGA professional, and is the head of the Air Force Golf program. He has conducted over 5,000 lessons, maybe 5,001 for me, because I'm going to get a lesson out of you. He's a three-time finalist for Career Achievement of the Texas Hall of Fame, Golf Hall of Fame. He's also a co-host of the longest running golf show in Texas. We'll talk a little bit more about that, called Golf After Hours with Mike and Dave. Dave Roberts, welcome to On the Front Line.
Well, thanks, John. I appreciate you having me on here. It is a blessing to get the word of golf out to everybody. And, um, I'm just blessed to be here.
Yeah, that's good to have. Hey, get into the real stuff, and I run out of time. I better on my driver, much better the last 2 years, but every once in a while, out of the blue, I get this snap hook. And I don't know if I'm describing it the right way. I call it a snap hook. It'll go out like a line drive, and it's got the wicket curve and goes to the left on me. And I cannot figure out where that comes from or why. Sometimes you swing and you get through it and you go, oh, I just mishit it and didn't feel good. It can be what I think is the perfect swing, but this magical snap hook happens. So that's not much information to go on,
But
but how can I
here's
fix
your
it?
cure. No, I'm writing a book right now called Golf Uncomplicated. That's part of it right there. A lot of people don't do it. Golf is full of balance, and so when your ball goes low and left, what it's doing is you've leaned into the ball, and when you do, your club face will start closing automatically.
Close.
So then you're delofting it, and then it closes to the left. So you're going to actually put that spin on it where it goes lows and left. So your cure is to think about Freddie Couples or Ernie Els, and you swing through and you keep your head down and let your right shoulder bring your chin up when you follow through. So you're keeping your head as still as
Huh?
possible. That will
Yeah.
keep your balance, and you'll hit balls a lot better. There you go.
Yeah.
There's your
There you
lesson.
go. Hey, tip from me, but really tip for the audience. So we got something out of Dave here. Maybe we'll get a few more. So Dave, wanted to have you on. I saw some of your stuff on social media. You started posting in our Armed Forces Recreation Network. That's kind of where I kind of put two and two together, and we hooked up and chatted, and I'm like, you got to be on the show for sure. Your journey is really interesting, and we kind of titled this full circle, and full circle because you actually were in the military as a young man. So tell us a little bit about that journey from Army enlisted to where you are today, heading up the entire Air Force Gulf program.
Well, I'm blessed. And actually, I'm part of a team. I do have a life member, PGA Professional Chris Bowles, and a GCSAA agronomist, um, Justin Wheeler and Chris Bowles. And then we have a business analyst, Al Holbrook, where we all work together. I do a lot of the programming and player development. Chris is a lot of the admin side. Al is the regulations, and of course, Justin can grow grass with the lid closed, no water, no
Yeah.
sunlight. That guy's totally awesome. So
Yeah.
we make a formidable team. I bring my outside the gate experience into that. But as you asked before, how it started, I was that young E4 going overseas to Korea. It's one of those ones where you're only by yourself. It's unaccompanied. I didn't want to get caught in the trap. Everybody knows what we talk about, the trap. The jungle juices and all the other crazy things that can go on. So
Bad
friends of
choice.
mine
Bad choice.
rehooked me back into golf because
Mm.
they knew I played golf when I was younger. So we would go from our camp, which was Camp Essions, 1.5 clicks down the road to Camp Red Cloud every day, carrying our clubs. We would play till dark, go to the bowling center, have a couple of beers, bowl, and then we'd have $2 stashed in our sock, and we would move it on back with a taxi. Odyssey would give us a ride back, and then we'd be all cool with it. And then I got stationed at Fort Sill to become an instructor of multiple launch rocket system. And I happened to play with some top brass all the time because my journey was, as I was telling you, that one day I was playing with a gentleman, and I didn't know that he was the command sergeant major. I just knew him as Rufus. And then I got assigned to that unit. So when downtime was, the general would call and say, Sergeant Roberts, because I got promoted at that time, needs to be at the golf course 1,300 hours. And so after a couple of years of that, the INF treaty was signed, the nuclear one. My job was being filled with all those people. I was never going to get promoted. Me being, and I had sent a picture. I think I sent the picture to you. People die of this picture. I'm like 183 pounds with 5% body fat. Because I'm, I was skinny, but I've got Robert Newhouse, Dallas Cowboy thighs, legs, and neck, and upper body. It's just the waist was really little. So we end up going and getting medically out due to that and some injuries due to previous stuff that I've done in the military. And I became the golf pro because I was already working there. And he says, well, look, the golf pro retired. You're not going anywhere. General said, let's make this, work for everybody. So I was blessed in that way. And then, worked several years for the Army. But it was time to come home when my parents were getting ill, and I've run or owned golf courses all the way up to about 7 years ago. As a matter of fact, this month, 7 years ago, I was hired by the Air Force to help take it to the next level.
Let me pause you there because now we're transitioning. You're out of the Army and you're blossoming in a golf career. But going back to the Army as being an enlisted, and yeah, you were a good golfer. Was MWR or FMWR services in the Army crucial to you and your fellow soldiers?
Yes, it was big. I actually think it saved my life because, first time away from home, like a lot of military guys and gals are, you fall into the traps and the pitfalls of what's going on outside the world. And some of them have just left high school and all of a sudden, welcome world. And with us being overseas, especially, we're 24/7, 365. So our downtime is to forget about it. My way of doing it, being from a military family, was to do MWR stuff and stay on the straight and narrow because I was looking at a bigger picture down the road. I was always taught by my parents, never put yourself in a compromising position. So I used the MWR as my vehicle. Little did I know a couple of years later I was going to do it. And then I didn't know 30 years later I'm going to do what I'm doing now. But
Yeah.
someone bigger than me had plans for me and led me in the right direction. And I would say that as I just briefed in a commander's conference, you don't know what difference you're making in our military's life without that MWR. So I asked the leaders, how can we at AFSBC help you put these programs successfully into your bases around the world to be consistent, that when they PCS, that program is at that base, then it goes to that base, and it goes to that base,
Yeah.
and it helps,
Yeah.
like it is, morale, welfare, and recreation.
Yeah, I spent 34 years at Naval Station Great Lakes, the Navy's only boot camp. So we saw a lot of junior sailors, and we were our MWR program was really the first one they saw. So we always felt a sense that we needed to be as good as possible and set the bar really high, so that they did find that next MWR. Because we know recruiters aren't talking about that as a benefit, but it makes a difference. So glad to hear that. I'll I'll fast forward you back to your journey
Oh no,
story
I'm
then, but
here for you. I love it.
it's
I'm
great
blessed.
great to hear because that's the importance of what we do in MWR. Awesome.
Well, fast forward, I became part of a team, as I previously mentioned, Chris Bowles and Al Holbrook. Um, my boss, Shandy Scott, she's a deputy director interim. I hope she gets the position because she's totally awesome. And then our agronomist, Justin Wheeler. And we go and we ensure that not only that our activities are sustainable, but they are consistent across the board because it's vitally important to have that. Whether you're at Langley Air Force Base, the next thing you know it, you're overseas at Ramstein. And then all of a sudden you go down to a remote in Italy or go to Korea. And we want to make sure that this vehicle is there for them to use and to, they have to recharge. I mean,
Yeah.
you have to recharge the batteries or, crazy things are going to happen. And we don't want anybody to go to the unthinkable, as we talk about. We want them to be ready to take care of not only their families, but, be there. Everybody has to have their six. And the only way you can do that is you got to take some time off, let your hair out. And my whole thing is I tell them, don't stay in the barracks. You need to get off the Xbox and get on the T box. You have to. You got to get out there and get that vitamin D therapy.
I like that. Yeah, I think it is so important. Also, there's, you know, there, people get into the military and they don't really have a background for golf. They never played it before. Maybe they went to a putt-putt, or maybe they went to a driving range, but they never really played the game. So being able to, our military golf courses in general also teach skills, life skills, that they can use on. So being able to pick up the game, or at least have some working knowledge of the game and have experience, then when you get the time and the energy down in life, at least you've learned some of those skills. So that's really cool, and it's good to hear how much you still do and involved with instruction as well. That's awesome.
Well, I do a lot with instruction. Matter of fact, PGA HOPE, which is the veterans, I try to create the ecosystem where we have them young. Like I said, get them off the screens, get them on the greens, go through middle school, high school, because colleges, my son just graduated because of a golf scholarship. Then you become into the military, whether you're airmen, you're enlisted soldiers in the Army, a seaman, whatever you are, right? And then all of a sudden you become a veteran, you become a retiree, and that is the ecosystem. And John, a funny stat is for every one avid golfer out there, we need 3 to replace them. You have the one that's going to go, I just don't like it. I don't want to tear up the grass. My wife will get mad. You have that one might play once or twice a year, and then you're going to have that one who wants to be part of something big. And so it takes 3 to get there. So we have to really work hard, and we're blessed to have over 1.3 million rounds in our portfolio alone last year. That's hard work, not only from us at AFSBC Golf, but all those 50 golf managers around the world.
Yeah. Yeah, that is awesome. I mean, I thought I saw you guys have 50 or 52 courses around the world.
We have 50 active courses at the moment.
Okay.
We have 2 in the hopper. We might be getting some, but I can't say that out loud. But and then we might be, you know how alignment and realignment goes. So
Yeah.
things like
Yeah.
that happen.
Yeah, and what, 10 overseas?
Yes, overseas, and then you count Jay Bear, who's up in Alaska, who will be open probably at the end of May. They're
Oh,
still
nice.
snowed in up there, so once they get rolling,
Nice.
and it's amazing how they do 40,000 rounds in 5 months. It's just it's totally amazing up there in Alaska.
Yeah.
But again, that's the worldwide reach of MWR for the Air Force, and again. You were speaking about they might not have played. Well, we put a program in place called Get Golf Ready, and it's 5 quick lessons to get you ready to go onto the golf course. This year we've amped it up. We not only going to give you the 5 lessons, we're going to give you a set of rental clubs, or not a rental club, but they're more than rental clubs. We're going to give you a set of golf clubs,
Yeah.
and then you're going to get 2 rounds of golf. So you're going to get a little after love too, and so. Right now, we've got that promotion going on for the next 3 years. The normal Get Golf Ready programs from the PGA says there's an 86% retention rate. So if we could get to about 75% in the military,
Yeah.
I think we're hitting home runs.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll get more into Air Force Golf and some of the programs you're offering, because you had a whole list of fascinating things. And we kind of glossed over it, but your time in the private sector, you were involved with, you had some pretty prestigious jobs at some pretty nice golf courses along the way. What did those experiences bring to your job now? What have you brought from the outside, many years on the outside doing great things, have you brought to the Air Force, or how did that shape you?
I'm glad you asked that question, because everybody goes on, and the perceptions out there that Congress funds our golf courses, the red tape and stuff like that. It's actually pink tape. It's not red. And because what I helped do, and I think it's shaped, is I learned how to, because I had to deal with investors. So I learned to tell that compelling story with data that we collect. And a quick example is right now, the National Golf Foundation says that 18 to 34-year-olds is the fastest growing demographic over the last 2 years. We just happen to have E1s to E4 up 22%, which is the fastest growing in our military at the same time. So we're starting to mirror that. And that was the goal, is to mirror that. But then also, they call it Davisms. I get people who talk about it all the time. I want a cheers atmosphere. When you come in, well, we can't say let their hair down, because we all have to get good haircuts. But, we want you just to relax and be part of this. And so part of the customer service experience, it's not training, it's experience, is knowing your customer's name, knowing their little idiosyncrasies. Did Margaret go to the hospital the other day because she told you that at the counter? If you can remember that and ask her that the next time, she's feeling wanted. People want to feel wanted in the world. So if you take your golf course and you say, hey, it's like a Cheers atmosphere where everybody knows your name, everybody loves on you, come on in. It becomes one big family.
Yeah. What was your best job outside of your current working for the United States Air Force, Department of War? What was your in the commercial sector? What was your favorite job?
Now, don't get me wrong. I love running golf courses. That is, I found out when I played a long time ago against you might know him, John Daly. After I played a few rounds of golf in a tournament with him, I found out I was going to be a club professional. And so I love running golf courses, rebuilding them, take ones that are inept and bring them back. And vibrant and stuff like that. But my favorite job was I was working in California. I used to work for the Golf Channel's. They have a marketing sector over at Buena Park by Huntington Beach. And we would be the guys who cut the infomercials. So those 1 hour infomercials are the little small ones you'd see. I would get to go in and not only test out everything, which was kind of cool, but then I get to meet these folks and then do bit parts in their commercials, and I think that was really fun. And, meeting Natalie Gulbis, Peter Jacobson, Butch Harmon, all the guys who you've seen on there, Charles Colossi, these big name people are into business. Now I'm rubbing elbows, eating dinner with them. So I thought that was like the coolest thing from a small kid from Corpus Christi who was a beach bum and an earring in his ear. And now I'm at a table with some of the elite people in golf. I think that was the funnest job.
Yeah. Awesome. I bet you've got some good stories you probably can't tell on the podcast.
Well, at the end of the day, you look at this and I think it's shaped to where we go now with it, because as like you do your podcast, it's a wonderful podcast. I love it. Watch it regularly. I think this is where we need to move into this digital transformation. And I think the talents that you have, I have, and some of the others as my partner, Mike, and then my new Air Force Golf Show with Rudy is getting into them, whether it's driving down the road, as you previously mentioned on there, and they only hear it. All right, because we have to tell these stories so they can visualize it, or actually watching it on your computer, your iPhone, or whatever you might have. And I think right now, besides the things that I do with the Air Force of putting the programs, I think this right now, with those things that you've seen, like the Bogey Bob series, I think it's such a must. It's such a must. We don't need the papers on the wall, Fred Flintstone posters anymore. We need to get into your ear. We need to, that's the way communication goes. And right now, with 86% of all Americans, the age of 5 and above has a cell phone or some type of social media in there. I think that, we're on the right track of what we're doing.
Yeah. It's a interesting balance on that, but how do people consume information and how can you deliver it to them? And yeah, it's good stuff. We're going to get back and talk more with Dave Roberts here, but Jovi's going to pull up a couple promos, but I promise we'll be right back with a great conversation.
It didn't start with a big studio. It didn't start with a massive audience. It started with a simple idea. One conversation, one camera, one episode. Back then, DPRS Media Network was just a vision. No guarantees, no roadmap, just a purpose. To tell stories that mattered. Stories from the Parks and Recreation community. Stories of leadership, passion, impact, and the people making a difference every single day. Episode by episode, that vision began to grow. More conversations, more voices, more people who believed in what we were building. What started as a show became something much bigger. A place where people felt seen. A place where ideas were shared. A place where the Parks and Rec community could connect, learn, and inspire one another. And today, we celebrate a major milestone. 500 episodes. 500 stories. 500 moments. 500 reasons to keep moving forward. But this is not the finish line. This is the beginning of our next chapter. In the months ahead and in the years to come, DPRS Media Network is growing into something even greater. We are building something truly special for the Parks and Recreation community. Something designed to bring people closer, to create stronger connections, to open new opportunities, and to continue serving the people who inspire everything we do. We are also expanding our reach through new partnerships, working with organizations who believe in our mission, partners who share our vision for community, leadership, and impact. And beyond the screen, we're showing up in more places than ever before, attending conferences, meeting leaders face-to-face, building connections that strengthen our community. Because DPRS has never been just about content. It has always been about connection. To everyone who has been with us, from episode 1 to episode 500, thank you. This milestone belongs to all of you. Here's to how it all started. And here's to everything still to come. The future of DPRS Media Network starts now.
All right, we are back. Dave, I want to talk about programs that are near and dear to your heart, but one in particular is I am fascinated with, and it's an Air Force program. It's called National Golf Day Outing. I believe you did it last year too, and you've got it coming up here in 2026. So tell us about that. I am amazed that you can get all your golf courses together to kind of conduct this huge golf outing, the biggest golf outing out there, right?
Yes. Well,
Tell
thank you.
us
I appreciate that.
about that.
The late great Mr. Dave Jenkins, who was with the agency, who was with us right when COVID hit, and that's the first time we had. This is the 6th annual one. He says, you know, Dave, what's National Golf Day? And we're sitting in the room, Chris and everybody, and we're telling about this is where industry leaders in the second week of May always go to Congress and tell them about the billions of dollars impact they have on their economy. PGA pros usually give a sale or they give a lesson or do something like this. He says, I want something that nobody else is doing. So we got into the quick think tank, which is walk down the hallway. And by the time we came back with one of the largest, if not the largest worldwide golf tournament where and we have bases who don't have golf courses who also participate in this. We play one format and we celebrate National Golf Day. This year it's the 1800 where all the holes are 100 yards. We expect last couple of years we had over 3,000 people worldwide playing, and we expect the bigger numbers this year. It's really caught on. It's time to not only celebrate, get people together, but with the 1800 and everybody's playing 100 yards, anybody can play. Nobody has to hit the Tiger Woods drive. And they could just all put it at the 100-yard marker or wherever they set the tees and play. So it's a lot of socializing, a lot of bonding, and it becomes a format that everybody loves. Last year we did the 666, which each hole there's a 6 format. Our golf managers are involved because we have them vote on what's the format for the next year. And of course, then we put out the videos and the social media for it to promote it. But thanks. It's fun. I love this tournament. It's comes from us to them, and it counts one of their tournaments they have to run monthly.
So for our non-golfers out there, walk us through this. This is every hole is 100 yards?
Yes. It's kind of like what you see at the Masters on Wednesday, the par 3.
Yeah.
Everything's 100 yards. Now, I'm not going to tell you that the pin is in the center of the green. It might be a little crazy on you, but it make it a little challenging, should I said. But everybody goes, whether you have 2-man, 3-man, 4-man, and it's up to the base to do it. You go out and play, and you play a scramble, which best shot, then play from there, and best shot till it gets in the hole. And like I said, it's something that everybody can do, whether you're hitting a lob wedge, a sand wedge, or a 5-iron from 100 yards, anybody can play. And so it opens the doors up and expanding where we can get the juniors, we can get the wives, the dependents, and it's a really fun time. And we've had our bases enhance it with burger burns and other things afterwards. So it's really growing in popularity.
That is awesome. And so, how does this work if you're attached to a base that does not have a golf course on it? How do they do this in the public course and be able to participate?
Well, we've had a couple of courses, like in Philadelphia, Los Angeles, and they've actually rented out the course for the day or for the
Oh,
morning,
wow.
because it's just this format's really quick because it's 100 yards. There's no drives involved.
So
So,
somebody on the services team coordinate with the local golf course and
oh no, we've
make
had their base commanders and flight chiefs go, I want to be part of that because it's very competitive, as you know, with base
Oh, wow.
commanders.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
one can't outdo the other. So they go out there and say, hey, Dave, do you mind if we rent a course? Yes, please be part of this. And so yes, on the golf courses in the military, in the Air Force, and our joint bases. And then we have a few that do it for their squadrons and, for their dependents.
That is awesome. I mean, it's just cool that you can do this as an entity. I've had some side discussions with some people about fantasy sports, and although there's some smaller type programs, I think the Air Force Services clubs tried to do a promotion through it. How could you do something where it's almost like um, the sports program, the all Navy, all Air Force sports program? How could you do something that everybody can participate in? And again, the talking point was fantasy football because it's so popular. How could you get all of DOW kind of competing together on that? But again, it's cool when you can connect everybody. That's makes the difference, and that's different type of programming that takes effort. So, congrats to you and the team, obviously, for getting that set up. You're near and dear to a PGA program called PGA Hope. Tell us about that because that's a work of passion for you, I'm sure.
It's a big, because I'm also a disabled veteran. PGA Hope is helping our patriots everywhere. We give free lessons to veterans. This program is sponsored by the PGA of America and the Veterans Administration. A lot of therapists will recommend us to come out and therapy through golf, vitamin D therapy, however you want to call it. It can be very emotional. It has been very emotional, but it's also been very enriching. We've actually had some of the folks who have participated, they come back and they want to be part of it. Like this afternoon, we'll have some come and they want to set the tent up, be around. It's just camaraderie. And we've actually had a couple who have actually went on to become getting away from their dark spaces and actually work for the golf course in some fashion. So, I mean, it's
That's awesome.
really, it's a very emotional program, but it's one that's worthwhile because we are getting people from the dark space to come on out, and it's the only PGA program that actually saves lives.
Yeah, yeah. What about physical disabilities? Is that it accommodates
Yes,
really anything? So you guys
yes.
have the
And even
a-
though I'm on
adaptive
both
carts.
sides of the spectrum, we all go through a certification on how to deal with the disabilities. Whether it's a missing limb, psychological, anything like that, we've dealt with those. We have certain clubs that are bent at certain ankles for those who, let's say that they're in the cart, the single rider cart. So we make those arrangements, and it's one come, one all, one team, one fight, and um, we love on them. And again, being a disabled vet, been there, done that. I know what they're going through. Um, I was in
Yeah,
my career sometimes going, oh my God, what am I doing? And so this is such an outlet. And it, if I got just like 2 minutes to tell this story, because I think it's very
yeah,
important how
yeah,
important this is.
absolutely.
This is all about MWR. And the morale welfare. We had a gentleman outside of San Antonio come to our program who was a very, very, very dark spot, about to do the unthinkable. His therapist was a golfer and said, hey, you need to go see Dave Roberts. You need to go see PGA HOPE program. He came. I learned of his story, special take care of him. So the team was there because we have a group of about 4 PGA professionals. And so he would hang around afterwards. We're tearing down tents. We would talk one-on-one and stuff like this, found out where he lived. He lived over by where I used to live. And he's telling me about, the dark spot. And you're there to listen and comfort. And about the 5th week in, he walked over to me and said, hey, Dave, I think I need to talk to you by yourself. And, at that point, I'm grabbing my veterans card, right? The health crisis card. And he goes, no, I really need to talk to you very seriously. And I'm like, yes. And he goes, Dave, you saved my life. You have saved my life. And it's heavy for people like me to bear that cross, but I do it proudly. And he is now, he's working part-time at a golf course, one of our golf courses. His family life is so much better. He comes once in a blue moon to show up to one of the PGA Hopes just to say hi and give that reassurance to the other veterans. And so it has played out. I talked about it at the Commanders Conference. I had more tears then because I had people crying in the audience. It's just you and I now. But it's very heavy because then it shows the impact. It's bigger than Dave Roberts. This program is way bigger. And I am so blessed to be part of that program. And so for me to share it with you and the audience, I thank you. This is what it's all about.
Yeah. A little bit of exposure I got. I had a chance to work as a special assistant to the DoD Warrior Games back in the day in 2017 when they were in Chicago, outside in a massive city. That was an interesting process, but I got a chance to work with those folks who are athletes and impacted in all different ways. But the healing power of sports, in this case golf, can go such a long way, and it's so impactful. So I love the adaptive sports program that the Department of War has. I love everything to do it. Obviously, it culminates with the Warrior Games, kind of on the high end, but just having something to support, and in this case, our veterans, just like the Warrior Games. This is really good stuff. So thanks for sharing that. Appreciate that. So, gonna change gears a little bit. I want to talk about Bogey Bob. I just saw your last one where he's hits it in the woods and he wants to do a little foot wedge and walk out of there, and you corrected him out there. So it was great. It's cute. It's funny. Keep doing them. I see all these, but if you ever need anybody on the putting green, I have a nickname called Three Putt John. So maybe you can help me out or get me involved in these. But tell me how Bogey Bob got involved and what's your thought process on this? Who are you trying to target, and what's the end game here? Because it's fun. It's fun.
Well, in the beginning, when COVID hit, one of my things is, of course, the entertainment side. So I started writing articles of best places to Air Force spotlights, base, and during COVID, it was what the practices they were doing and how, vitamin D therapy, because we were the only game in town at that point. Bowling centers, things were shutting down. And so we were fortunate in that way. Well, a gentleman who's a good friend of mine, Lee, who works in our marketing department, came to me and said, hey, Dave, let's make it bigger. So we started talking, and Bogey Bob was formed. This is a lighthearted view at rules, as you see, and situations, but he's also becoming the face of our digital media, because it's one thing for Dave Roberts to come and talk and blah, blah, blah and stuff. Yeah. But when you have somebody where the 99% of the average golfer can relate to some of the things, then it's very catchy. And so we're excited. And so what we've done is we've spotlighted 22 golf courses. We're about to spotlight the academy. Then we do our programming, which whether it's a Just 9 initiative for 9-hole play. Right now we're doing Get Golf Ready. And that's part of the rules, because we're finding rules that are the most common rules that people just kind of take advantage of, or they just really don't know. So we'll take a lighthearted view of it, trying to capture that avid golfer or that beginner golfer, because if they can relate and laugh at Bogey Bob, and if you notice, you never see his face, because Bogey Bob is like Mr. Wilson from Home Improvement, and you won't see his face. And so that anonymous people, I have had people go, well, I see myself as Bogey Bob. And so it's really exciting to know that we're touching people. And we've got some great episodes up. I've been hit by a golf cart, slammed in the face with a door. There's one coming up where I'm going to be in the water. We go good together. And the fun part about it is Bogey Bob, the gentleman who plays him, is one of the smartest people that I know. This guy has but he loves being part of the slapstick, which is actually out of his element, but he's come to grow into the Bogey Bob. And I'll get a call at 8:00 at night, Dave, I got an idea. And so it's, again, we're trying to capture the avid golfer without being that, as I call it, the Johnny Miller. I'm going to tell you, okay, rule 3 to nobody want to listen to that. But when they see Bogey Bob foot wedging it out of the woods or running me over with a golf cart, it's memorable and it's entertainment at the same time.
Yeah. Get some extra insurance just in case. You never know where it's
PGA
go.
insurance, good. My son, he's waiting. He's like, I got the policy right here.
Well, tell me too, in us kind of prepping for this, I caught something in your bio that mentioned Tim Duncan. You've been a Texas guy. You're down in San Antonio now. Great basketball player. I assume he's still in the general area. I see him at Spurs games now that they're good again.
Yes, go
But
Spurs.
tell me a little bit about how you interacted with Tim Duncan.
A long time ago, a while back, I'll say a long time ago, but a while back when he was on doing active with the NBA, still a player, he would have the Tim Duncan Slamming Classic, and it was to help the underprivileged children in the community. And he would host a tournament, and through people I know, and one of the golf courses I used to run, I know a lot of the Spurs. And so they said, and I would play golf with them, like Mike Finley and a few of those. And they're like, hey, you need to go see Dave. So I would get that phone call. The first time I thought it was a prank, because when you see caller ID and you see Tim Duncan on there, you're like, it's a prank. So I was blessed to be able to give him some golf lessons, just tune him up, should I say, before hit, so he would look good when he goes out there and he makes his appearances. So great guy.
He is, and so many good. They had a great run in San Antonio, and good to see him. Good to see them come back. Actually, I'm a Spurs fan from afar, but and you mentioned Michael Finley. He's a Wisconsin Badger. That's where he went to college. So
yes,
good stuff with him. All right, you mentioned it. You teased it about this book that is coming out, and I'm fascinated, ready to sign up. Tell me about this book and when is it coming out? When it's going to be available? What was the what spurred you to write this book?
This book is probably a culmination of many, many moons ago, leading up into what I do now. When I was stationed at Fort Sill, I was blessed to hear be able to interact. My first boss in golf was Spanky Moody, who is the nephew of the late, great Orville Moody, who won actually the U.S. Open. They used to call him Sarge. And so one day we're on the driving range, because before they played the Silver Pages Classic in Oklahoma City, they would all come down. We'd have the Moody Open. And so Spanky would say, this is the up-and-coming guy. So Orville talked to me, and he says, Dave, there's no such thing as a robot swing. You just keep it uncomplicated. Just take what they do, give them 4 basics, and let them be on their way, because they're going to overthink everything. At the time, you're going, okay, all right, yeah. But through the years, as I started teaching, that philosophy I kept in mind subconsciously of just keeping it very basic. Well, over about the last 10 years, I've been compiling case studies, and this is called Golf Uncomplicated: 4 Steps to Having Fun on the Golf Course. And it's about not only the 4 basics, but as you see, I story tell. So instead of saying this is exactly how you do it, I will have what you should be doing, but a story to go along with it that is very memorable to you, that's easy to remember, using in case my thought process is like Stephen King and those people who write where you can visualize what they're talking about in the story before you see the movie. And then so I want to do that with this book. And so it should come out next year in 2027. I'm not only going to have a hard copy, which I don't think will do super cool, but I'm going to have a digital book I have taped, with the permission of a lot of folks, through PGA HOPE and regular lessons, to go through and explain and have more of a digital encyclopedia, so to speak. And that's a word for, if you're young, encyclopedia is John and I's way of saying we used to have these big things that, 27 volumes. Informational.
I'm so old. That was my first job, going door to door selling it. Remember, people used to do that.
Yeah. So the whole premise is to keep it light so you can go and have golf and have fun out there on the golf course. And so you get this, you can try this, because there's a lot of YouTube guys out there and they're giving tips. The problem with it is they're giving the tip, but you can't remember it when you get on the golf course, because it's so technical. And I'm not technical. I want to be practical. I want something you can remember. You can tell me, we can listen to songs in the 80s and know them for the word, every word there is, and sing it out loud. But I can't tell my spouse that, hey, she told me to take the garbage out. So I have to story tell it in to.
I love that phase, because one, makes it more interesting with the storytelling. Two, as anybody knows, you also have to kind of put it into practice and really kind of physically go along. It's not just a book you read, put down, and then 2 weeks later you're gonna. No, you kind of need to read pieces and grab a club and actually be prepared. That, to me, at least for me, anything that I've read or seen before, I need to do it immediately. So I pick it up, and then it becomes repetition. It becomes kind of embedded in you. I still get that snap hook, but
And when you see this, you go, okay. And I'll tell you what's really funny. What spurred the whole digital movement on is I used to own a Mini Cooper, and I'm from the olden days where it's easy to change a backlight. I had to take a YouTube video and keep looking at it. So I'm going, you know what? In a golf book, why don't I do the exact same thing, just in bits and pieces of the 4 basics of the golf swing, and then have a spot where people can email me, and I can give them a golf pro to go fix.
Well, I can't wait for that book to come out in 27. I just picked up, somebody gave me a copy of it, and I had a long flight. And so it was Ben Hogan's 5 Lessons. And it's good, but again, I didn't have a club in my hand as I'm going through it. So I'm thinking your book's going to be better than Ben's. So
no, that's my gospel. That is my gospel. I love Ben Hogan. That was just like, yeah. But again, he's very articulate. He's technical. He was very smart man. Okay. Yeah. And there's a lot of people it will benefit. I benefited from it. I still have copies here, but if I can get a thing to the first person who's just picking up the club, they thought it was entertaining, so they want to go play it. They want to try this. And then all of a sudden they get to a PGA professional. At least they're not going in there with training wheels on. At least they have a clue. So when he starts talking, they know what he's talking about, and they're just not lost in the woods.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got a couple minutes left. I want to cover 2 different things. First of all, you were telling a great story about rubbing shoulders at one time with lots of cool, famous people in the golf industry. But what is the craziest moment or story you can tell in a podcast in your professional career? What's just oh my goodness, just wild, crazy story?
Okay, it's me. Okay, so I was playing in a mini tour event in Panama City many moons ago, and I had hit a shot on a par 5 to about 4 feet from the hole for an eagle. And there's people that watch mini tours, and they're around the green, and everybody's there. And so I got cloudy, got a little nervous. I got nervous. I didn't even touch the hole with the putt. So I put it in for birdie. People should be blessed. I would be blessed now. So I'm walking to the next hole, and I don't know what happened, but I threw myself in the bushes. So there you go. Instead of hitting myself with the club or throwing the club, I threw myself in the bushes. That's the craziest thing.
Oh, if we only had cameras and phones back then that took pictures. Somebody has to get this. Somebody
Yeah, thank
document
God in the
that?
80s we didn't have all that. That'd have been a great video.
Yeah, we'd put that picture right up here on the screen if we had it, so that's all right. Okay, so last question I want to wrap up with is obviously involved from an enterprise-wide for Air Force, but all the services have golf courses. I think there's something like almost 150 golf courses, 140 something golf courses across DOW around the world. Much smaller number than it was 20 years ago when I think we had quite a few more at one time. But where do you see armed forces golf going 3 to 5 years from now? Is there going to be any difference? Are you going to see a surge in participation? Going to be a drop off? Are we going to have the infrastructure of these courses, irrigation systems, and they're not going to have enough non-appropriative funds, not taxpayer dollars, non-appropriative funds to be able to generate it? Is it going to get bigger, smaller? Put your crystal ball in front of you. Where do you see 3 to 5 years armed forces or military golf courses in the golf program in your perspective?
I think that we're going to be right sizing. We have right sized since 2016. The portfolios and all the branches have, but with again the pandemic, it gave a rebirth to golf.
Yeah.
We think the top golfs of the world. We think all the ranges and all that stuff. So our mission is to convert them to come on out and give us a try. And that's why we do the 9-hole initiatives, the 9 and wine with the ladies and different things like that. We're at record numbers already. We continue to break the records. We're doing more rounds with less bases than we had in 2016, 2019. Right now we're in a good spot, and it's up not only to our team at AFSBC Golf, but to our leadership to show the importance that golf is what is needed out there. And so we're currently working on reinvestment programs to keep all of our bases sustainable and give that MWR support to all of our active duty military dependents, guardians, and the warfighters.
Yeah, yeah, it's going to be interesting. Do you see simulators which have gotten really good and quite honestly gotten a little cheaper in price depending what you're looking at? Do you see those as augmenting golf efforts for those courses that can't either sustain or just don't have the property or just never build? It's not feasible to build a new golf course. Is that a remedy or a solution for those bases? Having a couple golf simulators or a rec center that has that available, especially if they're not close to a town with a commercial Top Golf or X Golf or whatever, or conditions, winter conditions, they just can't be outside. How do simulators fit into the portfolio, so to speak? Or
Beautiful. They're
doesn't
the
it?
appetizer for the main dish. We have several bases who actually have simulators within their building. McGill, it's maybe 10 steps away from the front counter almost. We
Oh,
have some
nice.
that are now we're venturing into top tracer technology. Herbert Field down in Florida. One of the fastest growing things is so they can go out because you can also do it digitally off your phone. Andrews Air Force Base and a couple of others are doing that. And then for rec centers, it's a big deal because of the digital world. It's not all about just getting on a hand controller. You're out there, you're actually, and you can play some of the greatest golf courses in the world. That is like, let's tease you, the appetizer,
Yeah.
to get you to now, hey, man, I'm having a great time. Let's go out there and go play 9 holes at the golf course. And so
I'm
we're working
I'm
hand in hand, and it's how we promote it and convince leaders this is the way to go.
Yeah, I'm writing that down. Appetizer for the main dish. I love it. That they have gotten good and they're entertaining even for the novice. And it just helps the industry, I guess, right?
Right. And it's not just for playing the courses. You can also give instruction. So on a rainy day, you can be in there giving some instruction, playing TPC Frisco. You can be playing anything you want.
Yep, absolutely. They're awesome. So great. Well, Dave, as I told you, we could have spent 2 hours. We probably need to do another show. Give my best to Shandy.
I will.
She is great. We hope to get her on an episode. So once again, that's it for On the Front Line. Thanks again to Dave Roberts and his amazing story and journey and what he's doing for our service members and veterans. We'll be back next week, same time, same place, for another great episode. So on behalf of DPS, our media, On the Front Line, and Military Rec Show, I'm John Prue, and we're out here.
In the parks and recreation industry, attention is limited, but influence is everything. Every day, thousands of parks and recreation professionals make critical decisions. Decisions on infrastructure, programs, technology, and vendors. The question is your brand part of that conversation? DPRS Media Network was built to answer that question. We are a dedicated media ecosystem focused exclusively on the parks and recreation industry in the United States. Through a network of daily and weekly shows, we inform, connect, and influence this audience. Our distribution spans multiple platforms: LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, X, Instagram, plus email campaigns, newsletters, podcasts, and live event coverage. This is not a single-channel strategy. It is a multi-platform media engine. Today, our network reaches over 214,000 connections, including 51,000 on LinkedIn, 64,000 on Facebook, nearly 40,000 email subscribers, and thousands more across podcast and social platforms. While some audiences overlap, our true value is not just reach, it is relevance. We speak directly to parks and recreation directors, program managers, and industry leaders, an audience that is highly targeted and actively engaged. Through DPRS Media Network, your brand integrates seamlessly into this ecosystem. Through sponsored show segments, targeted advertisement placements, podcast features, and host-read promotions, even custom-branded content. Not as interruptions, but as part of the conversation. And we don't just operate online. We attend over 15 major parks and recreation conventions each year, reaching more than 24,000 professionals in person. Through live shows, interviews, and on-site media coverage, we position our partners at the center of the industry. Every piece of content we produce is amplified across our entire network. Multiple shows, multiple hosts, multiple platforms. Your message doesn't appear once, it multiplies. This is more than advertising. It is strategic positioning within a trusted media network built specifically for the parks and recreation industry. If your goal is to reach decision makers, build credibility, and stay top of mind, then it's time to partner with DPRS Media Network. Apply for partnership or sponsorship today. Let's position your brand where the industry is already paying attention. Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.